Welcome back for Batch Content Day. I just realized it's Beyonce's birthday week, and we didn't even recognize her in that episode on Sacred. Welcome, everyone. If you're new here, I'm Dr. Kimberly Madison, a doctorally prepared nurse practitioner and the founder of the Alliance of Cosmetic Nurse Practitioners, a professional membership for nurse practitioners who specialize in cosmetics and entrepreneurship, who want to have a business on the side or build their own empire. We are at the beginning of our year-long alopecia residency, the first in nursing of its kind. Today, we're going to be talking about Emma Grede. So many of us, ambitious NP entrepreneurs, look at titans like Emma Grede. She's the co-founder of SKIMS with Kim Kardashian and Good American with Chloe. And we see the success, we see the billion-dollar valuations, and we ask ourselves, how? We often assume it's about famous partners or unlimited funding, but that's not the real story. The real story to the secret to her empire is a deeply ingrained philosophy that she uses to pitch every single idea. It's a philosophy that has nothing to do with budget and everything to do with strategy. Today, we're not just going to talk about her success, we're going to deconstruct her mind. We will translate her three-part pitch philosophy into a powerful playbook that we can use to build our uncopyable brand. So before we get into that, we're going to read our prayer. God, I desire to live my life for you. I need your help to stay alert throughout the day. Help me to be aware of the things you want me to pay attention to, both good and bad. Give me the courage to step into faith when you ask me to. Help me to discern what is holy so that I can please you in all that I do. In Jesus' name, amen. I'm just going to have a little sip here. Like I said, this is Batch Content Day. This is episode number 3. 3 or 4? 3. This is episode 3. And, I recommend it all the time so you can stay consistent and persistent in your business. But I think I need to do a whole episode on how to do Batch Content Day, because certainly there's the topic. What are you going to talk about? There's a little bit of research that goes behind that. And then, doing all the drafting, all the writing, social media, emails, YouTube description box, the thumbnails, the picture from the thumbnails, the titles, the SEO ranking. The time of day so that you don't inconvenience your family too much, blocking out your calendar, and then the day itself, right? The temperature, the lighting, the clothes that you lay out on the bed, when you're going to eat, are you going to have something to drink? Are you going to drink on camera? All those things, it's kind of a lot. It can be a little overwhelming. And so we might do an episode on that next time we do Batch Content Day. Today we're doing 8 episodes, so it'll be 8 weeks from now when we come back. But the beauty of these Batch Content Days, especially if you're subscribed, you get notified immediately when we go live. And then you can join and ask your questions in real time, and you get to help shape the conversation here. And you don't have to wait for me to respond to your email or your DM. And it's free, right? This is open at office hours, just like in school when you go to see your professors, which I did all the time. And surprisingly, no one else was there. So it turned into a private tutoring session. So yeah, thank you for joining me, those of you who are here. I love dialogue. I don't like to talk to myself. So if you can leave a comment or a thumbs up or something, bring another friend over, then I'll know you for sure that you're engaged. So let's get into our topic. And after this, we'll take a lunch break. And if you've been with me so far, you can take that lunch break with me. So before Emma Grede even thinks about a product, she starts with a 3-part test. This is her entire business model in a nutshell, and this is a gold mine for us. Now, Emma Grede is from the UK. She is a Black woman. She's married. She has children. She's been in business for a really long time. She started off in the fashion industry, and then she paralleled her way into entrepreneurship. And I don't know, maybe earlier this year, she rolled out her own podcast called Aspire with Emma Grede, and she is bringing on the best of the best in class with some really insightful conversations, that really high caliber conversation. And some of the conversations, I think some of them, they hit, anyone can watch it and appreciate it. But some of them, I really think you have to be in business to even appreciate the level of detail people are sharing and the insight into their home and their heart. And a lot of these people would not agree to the interview to begin with, or this type of conversation, if they didn't already have a lot of respect for Emma and even a personal relationship in some cases. And so As the episodes unfold, not only do we get insight into these level of conversations and strategy, but we also get to know Emma. And the most recent one that she dropped this week, really with a therapist, we really got to see a little bit more of a softer side of Emma. And not that the other sides weren't softer, but she was a little bit, I think she was a little bit more vulnerable. And that provided a lot of really good insight. One thing I noticed in the comments, people are always commenting about how she interrupts the guests. And I will note that like Emma, and myself, a lot of people do batch content. So you can be in the comments giving this feedback. You're probably not going to see it, at least like if you give comments today, you're not going to see any of the outcome of your feedback for another 8 weeks. So just keep that in mind when you're over there reading her comments. I'm sure her and her team see them. Just give them some time. The next time they get around to doing some batch content, I'm sure you'll see a difference in the cadence of the conversation. But I have no doubts that you're going to get a lot of value from her conversations. And I just appreciate someone of her level of expertise and success has been so generous in sharing some of what she's learned coming forward. And it does two things for us. Not only do we get the content that she's sharing, but we get to ask ourselves, why is Emma? She is a owner of billion-dollar companies, right? And very young, she could continue to put them out, continue to create more companies if she wanted to. But why is she in social media? I've asked you this question before, right? When we talked about, and actually she's one of the members on Shark Tank, the UK, and she's done some here on the US one too. Why are these people who have achieved such great success? It was Robert, the other Shark Tank that we did a few months back. We talked about him. Why do these people take the time to be on social media? Why do they see it's valuable? But we're still struggling to get our NP entrepreneurs to show up, show your face, share your philosophies, have a critical lens when you're talking about products and ingredients and why you're saying something is the best of the best. That's the level of expertise that I want you to have in nursing. That's what we want you to do, maintain that spirit of inquiry. If you've been fortunate enough to practice at a magnet facility and be in a residency, part of the culture there is to maintain that spirit of inquiry, to ask why about everything. Sometimes in medicine, we're a little too trusting. Just because it's in a textbook, in a journal, at a conference, in a lecture, from a professor, someone you highly adore, someone who's achieved a lot of accolades, it doesn't mean we still can't question anything, because at the foundation of everything is room for improvement. There's margins of error. There's a lot of historical context that goes into play. So you want to question everything, because in the questioning, that's where we get improvement. The things that are only the things that get measured can be improved. So I see all of you here. Just give a thumbs up. Let me know more about you. So let's see. Let's get into Emma. And leave a comment. Let us know in the comments where you are in your business. Are you aspiring? Are you already in practice? Or are you looking to retire? Sometimes we forget about those people who are looking to retire or who have retired. They're also concerned about growing a business, but also not taking as many risks. And they're really into that space where they want things to be guaranteed before they sell their practice and retire. We're talking about income. Okay, so before Emma thinks about a product, she starts with this 3-part test. And this is her business model in a nutshell. And it's a gold mine for you. Okay, first ask yourself, is there a real gap in the market? If you're in derm, if you're in cosmetics, the answer is absolutely yes, there's gaps in the market. She doesn't ask, what can I sell? She asked, who is being ignored? With Good American, she saw the fashion industry had disrespected a huge portion of women by not offering premium denim in a full range of sizes. That was a deep emotional pain point for her, which I appreciate, because Emma's quite petite. So even for her to even want to empathize or recognize with that is really appreciative. You don't have to always relate to your target audience, but if you can empathize, just like we do with our patients, so much of what we do in clinical practice parallels what we do in business. And the longer I do this, the more I see that. So for you as the founder, your question is, in your city, who is the patient every other practice is ignoring? Okay. Right now, we're in our alopecia residency. CCCA, or central centrifugal cicatricial alopecia, is primarily impacts women of color. Now, of all the alopecia, it represents only 5% of the cases, but of those 5%, 80% of Black women are impacted. So you can say, oh, it's a small number. That's probably why some of you who are watching this may have never heard of it. But 80% of women are being impacted by that, right? So that's a huge market that's being ignored. Where is it being ignored? In our education, in clinical research, and in the market, okay? So second question she asked, is my product innovative and best in class? Once she finds the gap, she's obsessed. Like, I want you to be obsessed over your the solution that you're going to offer and the problem that you want to solve, right? She's obsessed with creating a product that is demonstrably better. We want you to have a level of exceptionalism, right? And you can really do that when you're super niche. And then also it takes you out of thin when you're super niche. You no longer have to worry about being saturated in competitive markets. Now, for you, your service is the product. It's about offering the most comprehensive, educational, empathetic consultation in your city. Third, she asked, what is the added benefit for the consumer, right? We always want to find out what's the benefit for them and make sure we point it out, make it obvious, point out the obvious. Okay, what's the real transformation they're going to have? Where are they at now? Where do they want to be? For your clients, the added benefit is never just less wrinkles. It's the confidence to nail a job interview, to go out on that date after they've been divorced. You're not selling a procedure, you're selling a feeling. Now, when it comes to Emma, her commitment to serving the overlooked didn't stop with her own brand. As the chairwoman of the 15% Pledge, she's actively working to create systemic change, pushing major retailers to dedicate 15% of their shelf space to Black-owned businesses. This is the highest level of philosophy. It's not just about winning in your niche, it's about using your success to create opportunities for the entire ecosystem. That is the philosophy of true legacy builder. 15% pledge. If you're on our email list, then you already know about this because we talked about this on the Mahogany Dermatology blog during August. Now, 50% represents the part of the demographic that represents Black and Brown individuals. So what happened is Emma and her friend recognized that there were gaps in the market. And at a minimum, they're just asking brands and other businesses to make sure that when you're picking products and brands to put on your shelf, to put on your website, that it reflects the overall demographics of the country. And so we talked about that on the blog, and it's linked in the description box, okay? So at this point, and the video that you're here joining me with, this is the kind of in-depth strategy that turns clinicians into business owners and investors. If you're ready to build a brand with this kind of meaning, let me know by hitting the subscription box and bringing someone over here, okay? Now, how did Emma scale this philosophy so fast? Now, we're saying it's fast because when you're the viewer, it's always much faster than when you're the one doing it. That's where entrepreneurship, not only is it lonely, it can feel really slow and stagnant sometimes. That's why being in a community, having accountability partners, it really helps you survive this thing, okay? So, through the art of strategic partnership, Emma Grede's approach is about proactive value creation. Imagine that you've identified that your philosophy is to provide holistic, inside-out approach to skin health. You walk into an office of the top wellness provider in your city. You don't say, hey, can you send me some of your patients? You say, I've developed a signature skin health journey for busy professionals. Our philosophies of care are perfectly aligned. I propose we co-host a private educational event for your highest value clients on the link between gut health and skin aging. You see the difference there? You're not asking for a handout. You are proposing a collaboration that provides immense value for their clients and positions you as a fellow expert. And you keep each other in business. One great partnership is worth 1,000 business cards. I want to hear your story in the comments. Tell me one sentence philosophy that is at the heart of your business that shapes how you make every decision, okay? And yeah, that's going to wrap us up. So the big takeaway for today is I want you to know that your brand is not your logo. It is the physical manifestation of your philosophy. The most successful founders like Emma built an empire by finding a real gap in the world, creating a best-in-class solution, and using their platform to create systemic change that is a brand that no one can copy. So in the Alliance, we have weekly live webinars and lectures. In there, not only are we learning content as clinicians and business owners, but we're identifying gaps in practice, in business, in the market. And when we identify those gaps, then we identify, okay, and we support each other. Hey, how can I develop this into a business on its own, or incorporate it into the ecosystem that I'm already creating, right? That's exactly what we're doing there. Even we had a lecture this morning talking about the historical context of skin of color, what that means, what the greater society, how they define skin of color, what they thought led to different diverse skin tones. You can look at that and say, oh, you're just learning about history. But even in the history is lots of opportunities, not only for business, but to position yourself to speak on these topics and get paid for your thought leadership. And not only you, but you help elevate our practice as nurse practitioners. So if you love this conversation or you feel more confident about building a purposeful business, then you have to check out the article, Women-Owned Businesses and the 15% Pledge. It's a blueprint for those of you who are cosmetic nurse practitioners, particularly in 2025. You can check that out by going to the Mahogany Dermatology blog. We've linked that below. It's the essential guide that you need to understanding the numbers and opportunities that are waiting for us as founders. I want to thank you for joining me. I'm going to take a lunch break. I'm just going to have some vegetables that are already cooked. So I'm just going to heat them up, and then I'll be back shortly for the next episode. I thank you all for watching. And now I just have to find how to close this out. There you go. Thank you for being here. Make sure if you're subscribed, then you'll be notified. When I go live, you'll get notified immediately in your email. Thank you. I see you. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you next time.